2049, much of the world as we know it is uninhabitable due to the climate crisis. A young woman named Rose agrees to work as a spy at Camp Zero, an American building project in northern Canada, in exchange for the safety and security of her Korean immigrant mother. But it isn't long before Rose realizes she's not the only one there with hidden motives. In her debut novel, Michelle Min Sterling weaves together three powerful stories about the power and danger of class, the ties of family, and how strong women can come together to change the world.
We're so excited. We're joined by Michelle Min Sterling. And a big warm welcome to this crowd here. We got Sip and Flip, the book club from Roselle, New Jersey. The founder, Lakia Redmond, got a little group together in her house. That was back in 2018. Now,
wow.
Look, y'all got members all over the world. Sip and Flip.
We're so happy y'all are here.
Cool.
Okay, Michelle, we're going to start with you, and then, of course, we're going to get to some questions. A lot of books are sort of set in the future with aliens and kind of sci-fi, but this is really grounded. What made you want to work in speculative fiction like this?
Yeah, I wanted the novel to be set in a tangible future, a future that we could almost reach a hand out and touch, so that a lot of the questions the book raises, in terms we saw at the trailer, in terms of climate responsibility, collective action, would be something that we could really kind of see for our own lives as well.
I think this is fascinating. And of all the topics, like, how did this come to you? I always wonder how the beginning of the idea came to you.
Yeah, I was on a trip across Canada. I was born and raised in Western Canada. I was visiting a relative who was working in the oil industry in Northern Canada. And it was during the peak period of oil, and I was really interested in what this place might look like in the future when oil extraction no longer happened and it no longer animated the region. And I was really interested in exploring the idea of coal to being a commodity and what this place might look like in the future and what kind of workers would gravitate towards that place as well.
One of the things, I mean, there's multiple, but that I loved about this book was sort of what a cell phone addiction would look like years from now, and it's really intense, the blink. Explain how you came up with that concept.
Yeah, the idea for this technology is that it's embedded in humans at birth, and it's sort of a futuristic vision of our smartphone, the relationships we have with it, and how technology mediates our lives. The possibilities of it, but also the pitfalls as well. And so again, similar to the speculative frame, I wanted this to be something the reader might have a sense of, like, being able to touch and understand as well.
We should point out that you're also a professor at Berkeley College, and your students were kind of the inspiration behind this. Talk about that.
Yeah, a lot of the book is about intergenerational linkages and connections and how we are kind of beholden responsibility for the generations that come before us. And I teach a utopia and dystopia literature class at Berkeley, and I was really inspired by a lot of conversations I had with my students and trying how to conceptualize a better future and how idealism can come into that as well.
Yeah, because they're hopeful.
Yeah, they are.
And this book is hopeful, which I loved because there's a lot of sort of cli-fi books that are not so hopeful.
Yeah.
And I think women are what gave us hope in this book. And so to have a full female book club here with some questions which we want to get to. Lakia, okay, what's your question?
My question is, if you had a choice, which city from Camp Zero would you choose to live in?
Oh gosh.
So what are the choices?
So there's Floating City, White Alice, or Camp Zero itself, which is an abandoned mall.
And describe what those cities are for people who haven't read it yet.
The Floating City is a sort of privatized city in Boston Harbor. Camp Zero is where the book is actually set. It's in a former oil town. And White Alice is a climate research station. I think out of all of them, they all have their own potentials and pitfalls. But I like the solidarity that forms in White Alice at the beginning of the novel as well.
Okay.
We would live in the abandoned mall.
Of course we would.
In the Claire's.
Where you can get your ears pierced.
Yeah, totally.
All right, Lateria, you're next.
Sometime in our near future,
Yeah.
do you think Camp Zero would become reality?
Oh, could it be real?
Yeah, the novel isn't intended to be a prophecy, but a sort of a space for testing out ideas. So I hope this isn't the future, but I think we have a lot of kind of a collective action that needs to take place in terms of the climate crisis in order to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and this book hopefully is starting that conversation. Okay, Amanda, we have time for one more question.
Yes. So Camp Zero is the novel, and Camp Zero, the movie.
Oh.
Who plays the main characters?
Or the television show.
Yes.
We decided it should be a show.
Okay.
Oh, you decided it's a
We
television
decided
show?
it should be a show.
Right.
That sounds good
So
to
it has
me.
an ensemble cast, which characters from a diverse range of backgrounds. So I think it would be a really fun series to act in. For Rose, who's the main character, I think I would like to see an open casting call for like discovering new talent.
Oh, someone new.
Yeah, someone who's going to break out in the role.
Okay.
But then for Mayor, the kind of like idealistic but also compromised architect who spearheads the Camp Zero building project, I could see someone like Nicolas Cage playing him.
Nicholas, I like it.
Nice.
Okay.
Would you make a cameo?
To be determined. Probably. I'm more comfortable, writing
a cameo?
Sure.
We're going to take notes.
Ladies, thank you.
Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. This was so awesome to have y'all here.
Love
and
this.
to check out Camp Zero, which everybody should, right, guys? You go to today.com/readwithjenna.